Hello everyone, Rich Hagon, Brian David-Marshall with you. It's the end of the final show of the 2014-15 season. BDM, do you want to just in 20 seconds explain everything that happened?
People played some awesome Magic. It was a lot of fun. Some awards were given out. A big check was handed out. Players will be coming back to Seattle in a little while to play in another big tournament. That's it. End of day wrap.
Lovely. For Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying we should put some more information onto those bare bones. Why don't we start with Rookie of the Year? That's up behind us on the big wall. And in the end, BDM, we kind of expected this coming in. It wasn't a huge race. And Justin Cohen, with his finals appearance at the Pro Tour, that was the big part of his win.
Yeah, he was sort of the big debutante party for Team Ultra Pro was Pro Tour Fate Reforged. Justin Cohen, a big part of that team and the formation of that team, finished second there. Big point total for him from that result. You see Simon Nielsen, Ben Wheats, Ian Farning sort of right there up behind him, but would have basically had to get themselves much deeper into the tournament to close any ground on Justin Cohen.
Yeah, when he took his title at the end of the Pro Tour, we said, what are your goals for next season? He said one word, platinum. So that's straightforward. Now, Rookie of the Year traditionally pairs with Player of the Year, but I can tell you, Player of the Year wasn't known when we came in this morning. That's because we needed to get way into the top 8 before we could decide whether it was going to be Eric Froelich or Mike Sigrist.
Yeah, coming into the tournament, there were 51 people who could have been Player of the Year, which is preposterous. And we had a short list of about a dozen and a half who were viable. And we saw a number of people. At one point, Kentaro Yamamoto, thought he was going to make a run. It looked like it was possible, but Eric Froelich put up enough results to make it a very narrow field of him and Mike Sigrist. And when Mike Sigrist landed his top 8 berth, that meant the action was going to be very live here on the final day of the Pro Tour.
So why don't we see what happened in the top 8? Let's go to our bracket. We begin down here with Joel Larsson of Sweden playing Red Aggro up against Stephen Neal. Red Aggro all the way. Some discussion about whether to play or draw in that one. Who emerged from there?
That was Joel Larsson in 3 games. Play, draw, play, people, like you said, that was a big deal, but it was Joel Larsson who emerged victorious.
Next up, 2 Americans, Pat Cox against Matt Sperling, classic aggro versus control. And in game 3, Cox came roaring out of the gates. BDM, he was all over the winner.
This was a spectacular game by Matt Sperling. Pat Cox came out of the gate early, got Matt Sperling down to 1. The red deck had him at 1, and then a Siege Rhino landed. By the way, a Siege Rhino had already landed. A Farika's Cure was cast, and then Courser of Krufix land, and a land, and a land. Slowly, the game got away from Pat Cox, and Matt Sperling was through to the semifinals. A little bit of a heartbreaker for Patrick Cox. He falls 1 point short of platinum this season.
All right, into the top half of the bracket then we go to Australia and Paul Jackson with his Green-Red Devotion deck. This was old standard Green-Red Devotion against new standard with Blue-Red in Soul Artifact for Stefan Berrios of the United States. What happened here?
Well, you know what? It seemed like Stefan Berrios was favored in this matchup, but Paul Jackson was able to sort of break serve in game 1 and was able to eventually take the match over Stefan Berrios. Interestingly, at this point, all 3 of our lower seeds had advanced out of the quarterfinals. So Paul Jackson through to the semifinals.
There we are. So he awaited the winner of Mike Sigrist, the other Blue-Red in Soul Artifact deck, against Kentaro Yamamoto, who had been the story of the event. A Platinum Pro, re-upped for Platinum Pro for this season on the back of a fabulous performance in the Swiss. He led the tournament throughout. Nobody could touch him till round about round 12. I think Brian Gottlieb was the first player to actually put a dent in the record, easily into the top 8. But Mike Sigrist was playing for Player of the Year. If he could win his quarterfinal and his semi-final, he would be Player of the Year. Let's see what happened in his quarterfinal. He did it. He beat Kentaro Yamamoto, which meant that then a semi-final was set up for all the marbles. But first, Brian David-Marshall, we had a very tasty affair. Joel Larsson against Matt Sperling.
Yeah, Matt Sperling had emerged out of the quarterfinals playing against Red Aggro, found that matchup again in the semifinals, but this time it was the Red Aggro deck that was able to take it away from the Abzan control deck. He won in 2 quick games over Matt Sperling and advanced to the finals.
Yeah, and that was the second final for Joel Larson, again in Canada, Pro Tour Gate Crash 2013. Now, what about Player of the Year? Would Mike Sigrist make it? Would Paul Jackson put an Australian into the final of the Pro Tour?
Congratulations to the Player of the Year, Mike Sigrist. He advanced in 2 games over Paul Jackson. Again, Arbor Colossus, a bunch of creatures that maybe make things tough for him, but Sigrist was able to just shrapnel blast his way to victory.
Now, by definition, that means that Mike Sigrist was the most successful pro player in this season. But if we take a look at the leaderboard, you can see just what that means as we show you the Player of the Year race for 2014-2015. That'll show you just what an amazing array of talent was there on the leaderboard. Here we are, Sigrist 73, Eric Froelich 71. We go to Hong Kong, Li Shi-Chan, and then Sam Black at 63. You've got Brad Nelson 61, Ari, Seth Manford, a lot of the usual North American suspects. Yu Watanabe, I think, will be disappointed. He actually fell out on day 1.
Right, yeah, he did not have a great... Interesting deck choice also, by the way. He's playing a Hardened Scales deck in Standard. A couple of the Japanese players are playing that. I hope to take a look at that when we go through the deck lists on the website this week.
Right.
But, don't feel too bad for these guys who didn't end up being Player of the Year. All of these guys are platinum. A lot of these guys will be going to the World Championship. Very, very exciting weekend for all these guys. You're going to see a lot of everybody on this list next season on the Pro Tour.
Yep, and it never stops. We're getting right back to it with the Grand Prix circuit, and we're only a month away from the World Championship. But we've still got one thing to take care of. When we left our top 8 bracket, we were faced with a final. Joel Larson of Sweden up against the new Player of the Year, Mike Sigrist. Let's take a look at our bracket once again and show you how it all panned out as we saw Larson against Sigrist doing battle in a final BDM that was best 3 out of 5. Yeah, so what went on?
Yeah, the quarters and the semis were 2 out of 3, but in the finals we go 3 out of 5. It went a full 5 games between 2 of the fastest decks in the format, the Mono Red Aggro deck from Joel Larson, the Ensoul Artifact deck from Mike Sigrist. And in the finals, we watched Mike Sigrist mulligan to 6, mulligan to 5, mulligan to 4, mulligan to 3. And you know what? He was trying to find a hand that could win. And you know what? He came very, very close. He had an Ensoul Artifact, he had a Goosefire Blade, but 2 Eidolons of the Great Revel locked him out of the game, and Joel Larson was able to get the first Pro Tour victory of his young career. Congratulations to the Swedish national champion, Joel Larson.
So there you have it. That is the champion. It's a dream come true for Larson. One better than last time here at Montreal 2013. This time he raises the trophy. Congratulations to him. An amazing achievement by Larson. You see him there. So well done to him. Well done to Sigrist, your Player of the Year. Justin Cohen, the rookie, to 73 national champions at the World Magic Cup, to the 24 players who'll be joining BDM and myself and so many more at the World Championship at PAX in just a month's time.
We might get a rematch there. Joel Larson versus Mike Sigrist.
We certainly
Can one of them take down Shahar Shenhar?
Or will it be a three-peat? Shahar Shenhar for the trio.
It's such an exciting weekend, you almost forgot that we're looking at a three-peat in a couple weeks.
It's going to be incredible. But for now, that's the end of our season. We want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of it. We would be nothing without you, the people who care about Magic every bit as much as we do. For everyone on the team at Wizards of the Coast, from Pro Tour historian Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.